Oh, hello there. We are live. Today on Verbling, or I should say this hour on Verbling, the next in my Hot Topic series. And today's Hot Topic is all about that new blockbuster, Star Wars, The Force of Marketing Awakens. We're going to talk about why this particular film is such an event and the relationship maybe between commercialism, entertainment, and dare I say art, or at least the cultural phenomenon that is Star Wars. And I'm just curious because it's such a big thing in the United States. I'm curious how other people in other cultures react to it. Anyway, and I'd also like to talk about, we're going to be reading an article, but I'd also like to talk about maybe what the original intent was in creating a mythology and why that may or may not have such an appeal to different people in different cultures. All right, all of that and more coming up on today's Hot Topic. But first, let me do a quick introduction and we will get started. I'm John Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, coming at you today from Lisbon, Portugal to bring you this class. And by the way, if you click on the link in the Verbling chat window, it takes you right here to my profile page. On the left, you can click follow and get notified of my upcoming group classes. And on the right, you can book a private class or tutoring session or package. I will work with you on a personalized learning plan to help get you to your goals as soon as possible. If you're interested, just send a message and we'll get started. Let's see if I can get the material on the screen for you. And then once it's loaded, I'll give you a copy in the chat window so that you can open it or download it on your computer. Okay, there we go. And let me put this here for you in the Verbling chat, and let me put it here for you in the Google chat, and we are all set. Okay. We're going to give everyone a minute or two to come in, but in the meantime, let's say hello to Mr. Jorgen. Long time no see, Jorgen.
Hello. Yes.
How are you?
Nice to be back.
Very good. Good to see you again.
Yes.
And let's see who else is out there. We have Albina. Hello, Albina. How are you?
Hello. The life is going its usual way. Everything is okay.
Very good. Albina, are those your cats in the picture?
No.
No.
Just sculptures in the usual building, in the yard of the usual building. And it was interesting because somebody made it. It's not professional. Somebody from this house made it just to decorate the yard.
Oh.
And I decided to make a picture.
Very good.
The park, it's amateurs, it's not professional.
So those are not real leopards.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see. I see. Very good. And let's say hello to Rebecca. How are you, Rebecca, today?
Hi, how are you? I'm fine.
Very good. Very good. Well, I want to ask you about this, all of you, because maybe it's something that I don't quite get. When I was a kid, here's a little story. Give me a second. Let me open this on my computer so I can see what I'm doing. When I was a kid, let's see, how old was I? 5 years old. Yeah, I think I was 5 years old. I remember very well. My brother was upset with my mother because for some reason we were late and we were driving to the movie theater. And I remember which movie theater it was too for some reason, because it's not one of the big ones. It's a small movie theater. Anyway, I don't remember exactly where it was, but I remember it was different than the normal ones. And we missed the beginning of this new film that my brother kept talking about. And it turned out to be Star Wars. I was either 5 or 7 because it was released twice. So it was either in 1977 or when it was re-released in 1979. And we sat through this movie, and the only thing that I remember was the landscapes in the beginning of the movie, because it was probably the first, maybe the only Hollywood movie to be shot in Tunisia. And I remember, I even to this day, I remember the landscapes and how amazing the film looked because of where it was filmed. I didn't care about the special effects. I didn't care about really anything, not even the story. And I only liked the very beginning. Anyway, fast forward. Let's see. 5 minus 42 is 30. Fast forward 36 or 37 years later, and this is like a global phenomenon, and I just don't get it. I don't understand it. Maybe some of you can help me out. So I'm doing this class because it's based on a very interesting Guardian article, but I'm just curious, what is the appeal in different cultures of this film? So first of all, have any of you not seen the original Star Wars movies? Just curious. Have any of you never seen the films?
I have never seen this.
Excellent. Okay, perfect. Albina,
Yeah,
you've never seen the films.
yeah.
Look at those pictures on the right side, and can you tell me the name of any of those characters?
No,
Not one.
Shame on me. I'm
No, it's not shame on you.
hopeless.
Because I have a theory. I have a theory that even if you haven't seen the film, you still know the story and you know the characters because.
No, your theory is wrong. I don't know.
No. I think my theory's right. I'm going to prove it right. Okay. So, what about the rest of you? I'm just curious. Do you know the names of any of those characters on the right side?
Yes.
Of course.
Sure, yes.
Give us one, Rebecca.
Well, Leia, Princess Leia, one.
That's the one that you relate to, right?
Han Solo,
Okay, there you go.
Darth Vader.
Jürgen, do you know the name of the big fuzzy guy on the bottom left?
Yes, Chewbacca. Or Chewie.
Everyone knows. Okay.
Yoda, how do you call Yoda in the States?
How do you call what?
Yoda, the master.
Jabba.
Jabba, okay. In Spain is Yoda.
I think it's Jabba the Hutt. And there was a joke when the movie came out in 1983, the third movie, because they called him Jabba the Pizza Hut, because Pizza Hut is the name of that pizza place. Let's see if Jose can name any. Jose, what's the robot in the two robots in the top? Do you know their names?
The two robots on the top.
Yeah.
I don't remember the names of the two robots on the top.
Oh, that's too bad. What about the little guy on the top right? Do you know him? What about the little guy on the top right?
The two. Well, in Spain.
What is the name in Spanish?
Dos de dos. So that means R2, the two.
R2D2.
Yes. Yes.
And the other one is C3PO.
Yeah.
Like this. Very good.
Yeah.
And that little guy on the top right, Jose, do you see the little guy on the top right with the big ears?
But that is master.
The little guy on the top right. Yes, I see.
Yeah.
And the guy that has a strange ears.
He's got little pointy ears.
Yes, a
The
little pointing ears. Yes.
Pointy ears like this. That one is not Jabba. That one is Yoda. This guy. The little green guy, Yoda.
Yoda.
And in the,
Okay.
The name of this guy is Yoda. Okay.
he's Yoda. And in the movies, what was interesting was that he was a Muppet from the Muppets, like the Frog and the Pig, Miss Piggy and Kermit the Frog. He was a Muppet, so that means that there was someone operating him from underneath, from below the camera range, because this was from the same people that created the children's TV show and the movies, the Muppets. I always thought that was strange, that they actually had a giant puppet because there weren't too many other puppets. Like the little robots, there were people inside of those robots moving them around. You know. Anyway, so let's see. For Albina, this will be an education for you.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll find out.
Yes.
So I wanted to know if you've ever watched a Star Wars film, and all but one of you have. I wanted to know if you knew who the main characters were. I'm just out of curiosity. Let's go back. I got another question for you. Jürgen, if you had to explain Star Wars to Albina, what do you think would be the easiest way? I mean, the story is too complicated to explain, but what do you think would be the easiest way to make someone who's never seen it understand what it's about? I'm just curious. What would you say?
Well, I believe it's an epic story about good versus evil.
Yeah.
Takes place out in space.
Yeah.
Between, well, good versus evil. It's a science fiction movie, and it's basically a trilogy. That means the story spans 3 movies at first.
Mm-hmm. Spans 3 movies, right? Yeah, the originals.
But then three more came. But the first movie was about I don't know. Well, I think I can say that it's an epic movie about a struggle between good versus evil, about magic, about supernatural things like the Force, which connects almost to some kind of religious belief.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
I've alluded to this storyline because it has religious interesting overtones.
It definitely has a very religious aspect to it. There's no doubt about it. But the interesting thing, and this is what I wanted to explain to Albina, who did see it, I think the interesting thing for me is I know a little bit about the original idea, and I know that George Lucas, who actually wrote these, he wrote the story. He didn't write the scripts, but he wrote the story. He was trying to, initially, when he was a kid, trying to create a kind of mythology, very deliberately trying to create a mythology. So there's no coincidence there that it has religious themes in it, because he was trying to create a universal myth. So that's the thing that I think we should think about if you've seen the films, is, I don't know, did he succeed? Is that the reason why it seems to be so successful? By the way, Jürgen, let's add another vocabulary word. We can call it, it's often called a space opera. It's epic, for sure, but it's also called a kind of a space opera. Do you think that it's a bit of an opera as well, at least the original movies?
Well, the word opera, space opera, for me sounds like almost like a soap opera. But
Not a soap opera, but really an opera, like Verdi.
But I haven't heard the word space opera before. I don't think it would be a good term to use in my own country as branding of the movie. The science fiction movie would be a better explanation, or just some kind of epic story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but
it's
I haven't heard the term space opera before, so I cannot really comment on that.
Well, it's not branded as a space opera, but it's often described as one. So let's see, and it's good just because it's for learning English. It's a good term to know. We can think about it. So Albina, do you have a slightly better idea about what the movie's about?
Yes, I got the main idea.
Okay. When I say the word opera, what comes to mind, Albina? What are the elements of an opera for you?
It's supposed to be long.
Long, yeah.
And there's many characters, many heroes.
Many characters, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's part of the epic thing. And of course, an opera is sung rather than spoken, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I would say that here's my theory: sung rather than spoken. Here's my theory. The reason why some people call it an opera is because even though there is no singing, well, there's a little bit of singing, but even though there's there is normal dialogue, there's something exaggerated. There's something very melodramatic, we could say, melodramatic about it. So the element of melodrama, I think it's safe to say, is part of it, because as Jürgen said, it's ultimately about good versus evil. There are some interesting moments in the film. I'm not saying it's a bad film. I just don't understand why it's so successful, personally. Maybe we can figure that out. First, we're going to take a look at some important keywords that'll help you understand the article before we read it, which we'll do in just a second. What I usually do is save them and have you repeat them so we can make sure you've got the right pronunciation. And then I normally ask you to tell me which ones you don't know, and we kind of work out the meaning together. You can look at the definitions if you like, or just we can decide in our own words what these things mean. Okay, so we've got a set of words here, and we got a second set here. All right, so I'm going to say them. I want you to repeat them. I'll say it like this: first me, blah blah blah, then you, and I'd like to hear all of you repeat after me, just to get the pronunciation correct. Here we go. List one. The first word is mania. First me, mania. Now you.
Mania. Mania.
Rebecca, I didn't hear you.
I forgot it. Mania.
Good. Second word, trailers. Now you.
Trailer.
Trailers.
Good. Not trailers, but trailers. Ale.
Trailers.
There you go. Good. Third word, nostalgia. Now you.
Nostalgia.
Very good. Next word, this one you surely know, villain. Now you.
Villain.
Villain. Good. Okay. The next word is a special meaning of a normal word. The word is, of course, release. Now you. Release. Good. Be careful with the first syllable because it's not. It's. I guess if you speak fast, it's release rather than release. Okay. And this one relates to the way a film is distributed. So it's a slightly different meaning than the normal meaning of the word. The next word is spin-off. Now you.
Spin-off.
Spin-off.
Spin-off. Very good. And the last word in this list is franchise. Now you.
Franchise.
Good. Notice that the S is pronounced like a Z. Franchise.
Franchise.
Right? Okay. Let's take a look at the second list. We have branding. Now you.
Branding.
Only one person. Branding.
Branding.
Good. Next word is difficult. Listen carefully. I'm going to say it twice. First me. Reinvigorate. Reinvigorate. Now you.
Reinvigorate.
Reinvigorate.
Okay, good. The next word, not so difficult. Me twice, then you.
Me twice.
Merchandising. Don't repeat me twice, Jose.
Ah, yes. Merchandising.
Wait a second. Merchandising. Merchandising. Now you.
Merchandising.
Good. The next word, me twice, then you. Savvy. Savvy. Now you.
Savvy. Savvy.
Okay, good. The next word, box office. Box office. Now you.
Back office. Box office.
Very good. Second to last word is prequel. Prequel. Now you.
Prequel.
Prequel.
Good.
Prequel.
With
Okay.
L or without L?
Without the L. Prequel. Prequel.
Okay.
Cool.
Prequel.
That's right. Without the L. The last word is streaming. Streaming. Now you.
Streaming.
Okay. Very good. Now think about those lists of, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Think about that list of 14 words. Let's start on this page. Are there any words that you absolutely do not know and you've never seen before?
Yes, reinvigorate.
On this page first.
Oh, yes, sorry, yes.
Any words you've never seen before and you do not know?
Well, I guess franchise.
Franchise. Okay, very good. If this one, I think Jürgen can handle the answer to this one. Jürgen, why is Star Wars a franchise?
Franchise. Well, it means if there's a company that makes burgers,
Yep.
then you can have a local shop that's a franchise shop. It means, if I understand it correctly, that is, that you can have run your own business, but in some kind of way in a connection with the larger company.
Absolutely, yeah. Like
It's called a
you have.
franchise. It's like you have your own thing, but it's connected to the larger.
And you
brand.
use the name of the larger company too. So it's your company, but you have the right to use their name. So Jürgen, why might Star Wars be a franchise and not just a movie? Any ideas?
Because now it's like a product, you know, and it's there are, well, no.
What's that?
No.
Okay.
I don't know if it has something to do with economy. If they have chosen to well, I don't know if that has to do with economy. If they make a larger organization or a company, and then the Star Wars movie is just a part of this grand setup. I don't know.
Yeah, that's basically it. So the movies are part of the franchise, and of course, the movies can be directed by anyone. They don't have to be directed by George Lucas, who wrote the story. So in that way, they're a franchise, but also, in another word, we saw merchandising. Anyone can buy the rights and create Star Wars material and goods and toys and whatever. So it's a franchise operation. Does that make sense, everyone?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other words from this page that are completely new to you or unclear?
Yes, it's funny. You thought that everybody knew it. Villain.
Villain. Ah, okay. This one is going to go to Jose, because I know Jose knows what a villain is. Jose, are you a villain or are you a hero? Tell us, Jose.
I have to say the
In the movie Star Wars,
the meaning of a villain. Villain is
in the movie Star Wars, who is the villain? Do you remember?
the villain is an important character.
That's true.
It's very important to the plot.
Is it a good character or a bad character?
Bad character, no?
Yeah, absolutely. So the villain is the bad guy.
Yes, he's a bad guy.
And in the Star Wars franchise, it is the Darth Vader character, which we saw on the first page. Let's take a quick look. It's this guy on the bottom right side. He's the bad guy because he's black. He's evil, he's dark, he's wearing all black. Notice how the good guy, or in this case the good girl, Princess, on the top left, she's wearing all white. And notice how the smuggler guy in the bottom middle is wearing both black and white. It doesn't seem like a coincidence. Maybe he's good and bad or something like that.
This character does evil actions.
Does what? Sorry?
Evil actions.
I didn't catch the word. Elections?
Evil?
Evil?
Evil actions.
Ah, evil actions. The
evil actions.
Yeah. He does evil things. He does evil things.
He does evil things.
Rather than actions, we'll say he does evil things. Absolutely. So the villain is someone who does evil things. It is also the antagonist of the story, not the protagonist. The protagonist is the good guy. Protagonist. and the antagonist is the bad guy. In other words, as Jürgen rightly pointed out, this is an epic story of good and evil. So all of the evil forces are antagonists that prevent the protagonist from reaching the good goal, whatever the good goal or objective is. Okay, so we've got antagonist, protagonist, villain, and the opposite of villain would be hero. So 4 words that are basically synonyms. All right, let's take one look at the second page. Okay, and Rebecca, earlier you said reinvigorate, right?
Yeah,
That was
I just look up the word. I know the meaning now.
okay. So,
Thank you.
in relation to Star Wars, remember that the movies were made in the late 70s and early 80s. How has the franchise been reinvigorated in 2015? If you know the meaning, you can answer that question. In what way, all of you, by the way, in what way has the franchise been reinvigorated now? Think about something that's happened.
Say again the question.
I don't think I can.
Why? Yeah, you know?
How has...
How can I answer a question if I don't know exactly what is the question?
Because I don't know, because I made it up. Let me try again. How has the franchise of, I'll write it, Star Wars, been reinvigorated now? That's what I want to ask. And let me do a quick, oops, sorry. There we go. That's the question I was asking. How has the franchise of Star Wars been reinvigorated now? Because remember, it's from the 1970s and the early 80s. So what's happened to reinvigorate it now? What do you think?
You could say firstly that the special effects have become much more sparkling and fantastic.
Yeah, they've improved.
They can
sure.
do so much more in the cinematography than they could in the 70s. But also
Absolutely.
the story has taken a twist and turn, and has now embraces more characters and people from other planets, and also new characters. It's not the same who was playing Luke Skywalker now. It is the other guy. I can't remember his name now. But the other Jedi Knight, which we saw in the first of the last 3.
Mm-hmm.
What is he? The boy?
The boy was Anakin.
Anakin, yes. And then he grows up, and the story like revolves around him and the princess, the queen, Amidala, played by Natalie Portman.
Right.
They carry the story, and together with the special effects and the storyline itself, you know, the whole Star Wars get a tremendous lift.
Yeah, absolutely. So to get a lift is to be reinvigorated. In other words, they were able to go to a different part of the mythology and tell a new story, so that it wasn't just repeating what happened before, it wasn't doing a remake or anything like that. Let's say a quick hello to Roberto, who's joining us now. Hello, Roberto. How are you?
Hi, teacher. Fine, thanks.
Very good. Just curious, did you ever see the Star Wars movies, Roberto?
Yes, but when I was a child.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So we're going to read, actually right now, we're going to read a little article about it, and we're going to try to figure out why on earth they're so popular. The article is actually about the force of marketing, not the magical force in the story, but I think that it raises some really interesting issues, by the way. So, reinvigorate, as Jürgen said, they reverse the chronological order, we go back in time, and they pick out a new story, and they're going to do it again. So it's going to be reinvigorated by a new set of characters that a younger generation, the millennials, can relate to, or something like that. Okay, before we leave this page, any other words that we ought to clarify?
Savvy.
Savvy?
Savvy.
Yeah, savvy. Well, savvy you can probably recognize from its Latin root, like sapient. Anything with sap has to do with knowledge. So if you're Albina, if you're tech savvy, imagine that you're tech savvy. Does that mean you're good with computers or bad with computers if you're tech savvy?
Tech?
Tech, like this. T-E-C-K, S-A-V-E-Y. If you're described as a tech savvy person.
I am good.
Exactly.
I am good at computer.
So savvy means good at something, or better yet, knowledgeable. Knowledgeable about something. You can be savvy about just about anything. All right, let's go ahead and actually read the article, and then I don't know if we're going to read the whole thing because I want to discuss some of the points that are raised, so we might stop a little early just so we can get in a good discussion. Albina, why don't you start us off with the title and the first 3 short paragraphs on the left side.
Star Wars, the marketing for Force Awakens. A long time ago, cinema audiences were transported to a galaxy far, far away. That was 1977, but in 2015, as the franchise plans to release its 7th film, interest in Star Wars shows no sign of slowing down. Now there is news of a new film about Han Solo and of a reappearance for Darth Vader.
Right. Han Solo is one of the main characters. He's a good guy. Darth Vader is the villain that we talked about earlier. Okay. Keep going, Albina.
Many fans around the world are constantly waiting for the release of a new poster art, new trailers, and other information, said Paul Dergarabedian, a senior media analyst.
I think that's Dergarabedian. I think it's. I have no idea. I'm not sure, but it's a weird name. But probably the stress is on the bed syllable. Dergarabedian.
Dergarabedian.
Yeah, that's how we would normally say it. Yeah.
A senior media analyst. It's hard to imagine any other movie franchise that could cause this much enthusiasm and excitement.
Okay, very good, very good. So, as we go along, I might just ask you a question or two to make sure that it's clear. For example, Albina, when did this franchise begin, according to the article? More or less, when did it begin? In 2015?
No, in 19th.
In the
1977.
Yeah, in the late 1970s. That's right. Okay, and it's a franchise. Can you think of any other movie franchises now that we know what franchise means? What's another movie franchise besides Star Wars? Anything come to mind, Albina?
No.
Class, anything come to mind? What's another movie franchise?
Could I say Indiana Jones?
Exactly. Indiana Jones was a franchise. It was a TV series. It was everything.
James Bond movies?
Yeah, of course. Maybe the original franchise, the James Bond films. Okay. Now, the only difference is that you don't really have James Bond toys. They probably do, but they're not as famous as Star Wars toys. But it's a franchise. Different people can direct the films, and they do. Even different companies occasionally produce the films, and even different actors play the same actor. So it's a franchise too. Maybe more recently, Fast and Furious is considered a franchise because there's a bunch of sequels and things like that. Okay, Jürgen, can you do 4, 5, and 6 for us, please?
Yes, I think you have to scroll up number 4 because I cannot really see it, if possible.
I can't actually, the way the Hangouts work. But what about if you open the link?
Yes.
Can you do that? Because I can't actually change the size. There's nothing I can do about the Hangouts, unfortunately.
Yes. The number 4. The latest Star Wars mania started after Disney's purchase of Lucasfilms from the film's creator, George Lucas, in 2012. Disney paid $4 billion for Lucasfilm and very soon announced that there would be 3 more Star Wars episodes, 7, 8, and 9, plus plans for spin-off movies and standalones.
Keep going to 5 and 6.
Details of the second spin-off have now been made public. It is a story about Han Solo, the intergalactic smuggler played by Harrison Ford in the first 3 films. This second new film will be released in May 2018.
Oh, I can't
It will
wait.
It will follow the release in December 2015 of Episode 7, directed by J.J. Abrams and titled Star Wars The Force Awakens. The unnamed Episode 8 is due out in 2017, and a spin-off, Rough One, will
No,
arrive
no,
in
no.
cinema.
Try again. No, not rough. Look again.
And a spin-off, Roots One,
Almost. Rogue.
Rogue One,
Rogue
will
One.
arrive in cinemas in 2016.
Okay. Now that we've read it, we've got actually a new vocabulary word there. Jürgen, what do you think they mean by spin-off, and what do you think they mean by standalone?
Well, spin-off, it's like when you start a series or movies, then someone gets an idea to make a similar series that is like born in this environment. They start a movie and then
Yeah, that's it.
spin-off. It
Yeah.
means that you take something and then you make something else from it. It's like it's born in that environment. It inspires you.
So it's usually it's a character, and the story then takes place on that character, but from the universe of the original.
Yes. Okay.
Usually. And what about a standalone then?
Standalone. It means that that is just this movie.
Just this movie. So
That's not to be. I believe there's not to be any spin-off. It just stands alone in its own right.
And it
rests
doesn't.
itself,
And I would add one thing. I would just add that it's autonomous. It probably doesn't advance the overall story of the big epic. It's probably like a side story that stands alone. It's autonomous from the rest of them. Like a story that's a detail in the mythology or something like that. Probably, something like that. But yes, you're right. There's going to definitely be no spin-off. It's like a little side project. Okay, very good. Mr. Jose, can you take 7, I can't see the screen, 7, 8, and 9 for us?
7, 8, and 9. Okay.
Yeah.
That movie will outline a rebel mission to steal the plans of the Death Star, a key part of the story in the first film in 1977. There was lots of interest in the rumor that Darth Vader, the black-clad villain of the original series, will reappear in Rogue One.
In Rogue One.
In Rogue One. The interest confirms the power of Star Wars nostalgia.
Good. Rogue One. Just to be clear.
Rogue One.
What is a rogue? Does anyone know what that means before I tell you? Does anyone know what the word rogue means? In politics, we talk about a rogue state. In fact, it's a reason to go to war. Governments call rogue states things that they might attack. What is a rogue? Anyone know?
Rogue is a dishonest man.
Not dishonest, but somehow not law-abiding. Someone or something that doesn't follow rules and is really, really egregious in the way it doesn't follow the rules. Really stands out. So rogue is something very different, basically. Very different, very odd, very unusual, something like that. I mentioned politics because you might hear rogue states as a political term, as a pretext for why to go to war. This is a rogue state. They don't follow international laws, right? Of course, it's usually the biggest rogue state that calls the little rogue states rogue states. But anyway, rogue is something that's different, odd, unusual. It has kind of a bad connotation. And there's another word there, black-clad. If I say something is black-clad, clad means to wear. Wearing black. Black-clad. If I said polka-dot-clad, it would mean I'm wearing polka dots. All right, so klad just means what you wear, to be adorned with, to wear. Okay, sorry to interrupt, Jose. Keep going for 8 and 9.
Okay. In creating a multi-storyline, multi-character cinema universe around Star Wars, Lucasfilm Disney are copying the phenomenally successful series of films produced by Marvel Studios, which Disney also bought in 2009. Disney has increased the level of marketing savvy to a product that was already popular.
Dear Garabedian,
Dergara-Bedian says the decision to make all 6 existing existing Star Wars films available on streaming services is a brilliant way to build the excitement for the new film and reinvigorate the idea of Star Wars in the minds of the fans.
Okay, so we need to just make sure that that part's clear. Let me see. What do they? Well, let's just clarify that, Jose. What do you think they mean by the films will be available on streaming services? I mean, how is that different than a normal movie? Do you know what they mean by streaming here?
Streaming.
Yeah. Have you heard that term before? Streaming media. This is the term.
When you can make a backup storage or something like that, no?
Well, it's not just backup. That could be part of it. You could stream it, and when you stream it, it has to download to your computer. So you could detect, right? But here, what they actually mean is, instead of going to the movie theater, you're going to be able to watch it on your iPad.
Yes.
So streaming means to watch something live without having to download it first.
The film could be in a cloud or something like that, and you can see this film online.
Precisely.
You can watch this film online.
Right. So this is kind of a big change, because this is something that Hollywood has been resisting for a long time, but now with its big blockbuster movie, it's going to embrace streaming. Very interesting change. I'm not sure that I know of any other big films that have done this, so I think this might be a really big change. Okay, we're on to Rebecca for 10, 11, and 12.
10 and 12.
10, 11, and 12. That's it.
Okay. 10. Okay, but it is not certain that it needs reinvigorating.
Reinvigorating. Wait. Slow down. Vigorate. That's the problem. You're having trouble with the G. Vigor.
Revigorating.
That's it. Yes.
Quite close. The level of enthusiasm that has surrounded Star Wars for at least the last 20 years is shown by the huge number of novels, comics books, video games, and merchandising that Lucasfilm has created over the years. Michael Wasser, news editor for Screen International, suggests that it is this shared universe of nostalgia that makes Star Wars the top film franchise.
Good.
The great thing about the original films was that they created a huge universe of characters and possibility that...
Uh-oh, I lost you. Uh-oh, Rebecca, I can't hear you.
People have been wondering how the different parts of the story fit together. This new film goes back to Han Solo and Luke Skywalker, so we hope it will reconnect with the original Star Wars films. The prequels.
Yeah, like this. prequels.
The prequels
Good.
failed to do that.
Okay, very good. Well, we lost your audio for a minute, so we lost a little bit of what you read, but we got the ending. Okay, so I think we followed along. I hope this is more or less clear. If you haven't seen the film, it could be a bit confusing, but let me just ask a question. We haven't seen the new film, but how will the newest film connect to the original film? That last paragraph, Rebecca. How will the new film connect to the original film? Is that part clear?
Yeah. People are wondering how it would be to watch all films together. You know, the whole story.
Yeah, basically it should answer the questions that were not answered in that 99, 2000, 2001 or 2, that middle series of films. So that's the idea.
But that time the story was already written.
The story was written in the 70s, yeah, starting in about, I think, 1971 or 2.
The whole story.
The whole story, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, the whole story. He wrote the story first. I'll tell that story at the very end of class. It's actually kind of interesting. But yeah, the story was written, 40 years ago. The scripts for the movies, of course, they were written by other people, and they were adapting his original story. And now, as you've seen in the article, Disney bought everything. Disney owns everything now. What does Disney not own? I think Disney owns America at this point. It's really amazing.
It's gone.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Okay.
Is the boss.
Disney is the boss. Roberto, you're going to do 13, 14, 15, and let me just see how many paragraphs we have left. Roberto, 13, 14, and 15, please.
Okay. Roser is referring to the 3 films Lucas directed between 1999 and 2005. The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith, which were about the life of Lucas Skywalker's father, Anakin, who becomes Darth Vader. Despite quite bad reviews, the prequels took $2.5 billion at the worldwide box office. It shows the power of Star Wars that, although they were disappointing, the prequels still made a lot of money, said Roser. In the world of films, branding a successful franchise are very important. Is there a risk that movie studios will simply become branding machine and lose their interest in cinema?
That's the question that I want us to talk about. So remember that question. By the way, Roberto, let's just correct one pronunciation issue. Franchise.
Franchise.
Right. So it's an I at the end, and the S is a Z. All right. Just to finish up, Albina, can you do 16 for us? And Jorgen, maybe you could do 17 to finish. Go ahead, Albina.
Rosa thinks not. Rather, they are desperate to keep the franchise going and make sure new films are of good quality. They also want people to go to the cinema at a time when lots are staying home for entertainment. But you don't want to watch Star Wars on your iPhone.
We'll talk about that too. And Jorgen, our last paragraph, please.
Meanwhile, the Garantian expects massive business when The Force Awakens reaches cinemas in December 2015. We certainly expect a record opening for December, and the film should make at least $1 billion worldwide. Truly, Star Wars is the ultimate movie brand.
What do you think he means by that? Why would he say it's the ultimate movie brand?
Because it's the best, it's the most popular. It's 2 words that. But it's a fantastic title for a movie. First of all, Star Wars.
It says it all.
It really does. The word war implies a lot of action, and star. It sounds like this is number 1. Reach for the stars, and and the 2 words, they have 4 letters each, and but of course it's the content of the movies, of course, that that makes it the ultimate movie brand. But
Ultimate.
it's also a very good title if you compare to other science fiction titles.
And let's take a look. Let's take a look at that question in paragraph 15. That's the one I'd like us to talk about. I'd like to get your opinion, and then I'll tell you the original story of how the films were written, at least. So look at paragraph 15, where it says, "Is there a risk that movie studios will simply become branding machines and lose their interest in cinema?" Think about some of the things that came up in the article. The movies will be streamed as well as shown in theaters. It's a franchise that keeps reinventing itself, but the last time it did this, it had terrible reviews. It still made $2 billion, but it had terrible reviews. I remember seeing the first film in 1999 or 2000, and I saw the whole film. I left the theater, and I had no idea what I saw. I couldn't even remember it in the film. It was that bad. That was the Star Wars 1 film in, I think, 1999, I think it was. I've never walked out of a theater and not remembered the movie that I just saw 5 minutes ago. I couldn't even remember it. I think I fell asleep. I'm not sure. I remember there was something about a kid, and he was going around a desert, and that's all I could really remember. That's me. So let's start the conversation there. What do you think about that question that's being asked in paragraph 15? What do you think about that question?
But personally, I don't think there's a chance that they will ultimately become branding machines, because the cinema experience is nowhere like the experience of watching a movie on your iPad. And I believe the guys working at the movie studios, they are so into movies and so interested in movies, because it's an art form, that they surely would like to see them displayed in cinemas also. And also, I believe the cinema is also something that are changing. The cinema as a means of showing arts is also something that I believe interests the movie people. So I don't think that it would ultimately. I just think it's a part of the whole franchise business that we can now see them streaming on iPads. But I believe that cinema experience is something that would keep on going. Also, because in cinemas, then you're together with other people and sharing this experience. You don't share
Absolutely,
the same way sitting alone. So it also has this kind of collective aspect to it.
That's the theory, but I agree with you. That's how it was. But then again, like if you look at television shows today, everyone will watch a show. Like the number one, so according to some surveys, I don't ask me where they were done because I don't remember now, but according to some surveys, the number one topic of teenagers is a television show, whatever they're watching, more than anything else. It's how they relate to each other, and I'm sure it's been that way even since I was a kid. But what do? They watch the show, and then they go on Facebook or WhatsApp or whatever, and then or Reddit, and they talk about it.
People go to the cinema and they sit together and see a movie, and then they go home to their own apartment, and then they share what they have seen instead of sharing at the cinema.
Yeah, so I'm wondering. Yeah, I'm wondering if what that's going to do also to the art of cinema. I mean, I don't know. Does that mean that going to the cinema is going to be some special, elite, and expensive thing? I mean, that communal experience, is it gone, or has it just changed?
I believe small town cinemas are bound to die. In my town, when I was a kid, we had a cinema, but I don't think it exists anymore. And they are very rare, these small-time cinemas. That was in the old days. In the future, we might see something spectacular. And they might find out some new gadgets or ideas to attach to cinemas to make people come there, because it also brings in a lot of money. If you put them in a mall, then you can attract people to the mall. And then they buy clothes and other things just to go to see a cinema, because they will be there anyway. So
yeah, you can also get a whole evening out.
Change, and I don't know. Maybe they will become more spectacular, or the sound will become better. I don't know. Or they perhaps make special events like the real actors show up in the cinemas signing something, or I don't know. They could come up with a lot of interesting ideas.
It sounds like you should be running the cinemas, Jürgen, because you have better ideas than I've heard. That would be amazing to go to the cinema and then have the actors be there after watching your movie
They can make a hologram of them, and then they can show them in multiple copies.
There you
instead
go.
of
Yeah,
the physical shape.
it sounds
Just like
pretty
they
good
do
to
in
me.
China with these hologram chicks that rock chicks, on the scene. They can make
In the States as well. They have. There was a rapper a couple of months ago who has an arrest warrant, so he can't appear in public, right? Because he's going to get arrested. So he did the concert as a hologram. So it was live, but he was projected as a hologram on stage, which I don't really understand. But that was how he avoided getting arrested. I forgot his name. He's really young. I want to ask the rest of you about. First let me tell you a little story very briefly. George Lucas in the late 60s, like a lot of people, went on a pilgrimage. A lot of people went across the country or went to do different things. It was a time where everyone was experimenting, living different ways, trying out communes and peace and love and all that. Some people went to Haight Street. Other people went to other places. George Lucas apparently went to New York, and he went to meet Joseph Campbell, an academic who was very famous for exploring mythology. So his pilgrimage was he had read the book A Thousand Faces of the Hero, which was a book that explained universal properties of myth, and he was so taken by this idea that he wanted to meet Joseph Campbell on a kind of a pilgrimage. He went there. Now, he could have just gone to school there. I don't know why he didn't just apply to school and been a student, but he went on a cross-country trip, and he showed Star Wars to Joseph Campbell, and Joseph Campbell talked to him about the idea, and then he went home and finished, because he couldn't finish it. He didn't know exactly what the elements were to a myth, but he did. So I thought that's the reason why it's so popular, because it has these universal elements of transformation and good and evil, and characters that are somehow familiar and yet archetypal. What do you think? Is that the power of the film for those of you who've seen it? And is that power being lost because of all the merchandising and commercialization? We've only got 2 minutes, but I'll put that question out there for the group. Well, so for example, Roberto, you saw this when you were a kid. Was it the mythology that attracted you to the film?
I don't remember, but I think the film was attracted to me by the special effects.
Okay.
Like the time was terrific.
Right.
Fantastic, the special effects. Yes.
And in 1977, those special effects were created in George Lucas's yard, basically, him on a truck, put the camera on the back of a truck, and when all those scenes of spaceships flying were done by him driving the truck around and filming a model. Can you imagine that being done today? If you look at the original films and you see the old copies, you can see a little cutout around the spaceships, a little circle where they actually had to animate the little spaceships moving around. They still look good, but yeah, that was a cheap movie. That was done for $100,000 in 1977. Even for 1977, that was an incredibly cheap movie to make, and that's probably why he became a superstar. So, we're going to have to stop here in just a moment. Do you think that the marketing is the real force behind Star Wars? Is it about the toys? Is it about selling nostalgia? Is that selling out the mythology that was supposed to give us this kind of moral education about good and evil? I don't know if that question is too abstract, but that's what comes to my mind.
If I may answer, I would say no. I think that the things around the movie is just like the frame around the painting. The painting itself is the story and the actors, which are amazing. We must not forget the actors, and they really carried the story and lived it. I think that Natalie Portman and the one who plays Anakin are amazing, and if a movie doesn't have great main characters, it would be a bad movie.
Absolutely.
They had so much franchise around it, and if Disney owns it, if the actors don't, up to it, then it would be a bad movie.
So
we must not forget the actors.
So the marketing is just the frame around the picture.
Around the picture. The picture itself is the storyline, and the actors and the cinematography and the skilled people who make the movie.
All right.
That's my opinion. And also the songs and the music we have the Star Wars theme. That is very well known also.
Absolutely, a full orchestral treatment of the theme. Well, we're going to have to stop there. So think about that. There are actually a few activities you can do if you want to extend this a little bit by looking at the rest of the slides. I'll be happy to correct your work if you want to work on some of the vocabulary activities, or answer questions and comments if you send me a message. We're going to stop here. I'll be right back for Business Basics in just a moment. We're going to do our final activity for our unit on the relationship between money and culture. Bye for now, everyone. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.